Hello, and welcome to Quackalope, and today we're doing my top 10 games of all time.
This guy's top 10 games of all time. Now, if you're just tuning in for this, it's titled something along the lines of either, what do you like, Jan Bigas's top 10 of all time, or a Goose's top 10 of all time?
Interesting. What do you think people know me better as, Jan or Goose?
I have no idea. Either way, if you're tuning in for this, this is leading up to
Your top
my
10?
top 10 of all time, which is going to be titled Quackalope's top 10 of all time.
Is it going to be like incredibly surprising? Is that why you're building this up?
It should be incredibly surprising. It's also going to be released when we cross 30,000 subscribers.
So is the princess game going to be number 1 or number 2?
And Jan, here's the part that I really want to advertise to people.
Okay.
My top 10 of all time is going to be paired with a second video titled Giving Away My Top 10 of All Time.
Like your actual copies?
I don't know if it's going to be a mix of like ordering and actual copies. For instance, with Kingdom Death, which no surprise it's going to be on there somewhere. Number 0, actually. So no one actually knows my number 1. Kingdom Death I'm taking out of the running.
Good.
I'll purchase a copy of that to be shipped when the next thing arrives. But for the other things, we're going to do a mix. My copies, signed copies, publisher copies.
Whoa.
It's going to be a party.
So you can share the love.
I think it would be the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's like you're sharing everything you love about the hobby.
Do your top 10 and give away 10 at the same time. Either way, Jen, this is going to be your personal top 10 of all time. And I have them stacked next to me, so I get to know. Number 1.
No, goes from 10 downwards.
Number 1.
Number 10
is going to be
Santorini. One of my favorite abstract games of all time. So Santorini, what you're doing is this is going to be a mainly 2-player focused game where you're going to try and build towers in the city of Santorini. Whoever gets to place their small meeple or their builders on top of these towers wins the game. However, what makes Santorini particularly special is that you have special player powers. Everybody drafts or just gets randomly dealt a god power, and that god power completely changes the small little puzzle that's inside there. Because you can play the game by itself, which is you move a space and you place down a block of a building, and that building can go up to 3 stories high and then can get topped off by that little ceiling. And then afterwards, you just try and maneuver your little characters to try and go one level at a time in order to make it there. But the god powers can do things like grabs whoever is at the 3rd floor and send them over to the other side, teleport, bring in tsunamis. Like it's absolutely insane. And there's over, I would say, like probably 60 plus god powers in this game.
If you like a good 2-player head-to-head, I mean, this is one of the very first abstracts that you taught me. It really has that new age feel of abstract game design. And yeah, this is just an absolutely lovely
and crazy thing about that game is that this is actually a classic game that got the god powers infused through it through Roxley.
You know the most offensive part of this game?
Offensive?
That it's sitting at your number 10, Jan. What is better than Santorini?
Well, let's find out, because I have a bunch. Number 9, Bunny Kingdom.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, you love Bunny Kingdom.
The amount of tasty little bunnies that you could put into your mouth in this beautiful, epic, God-endowed drafting game.
It's, okay, so, yes, drafting game, and also, this is almost like an area control game in a way. You're drafting. So this is very similar to Chinatown.
You're drafting cards that give you position on a map or on a board that allows you to slowly start closing in regions. The area control would be cutting off other players from getting resources that you need, all with the main objective of tons of victory point. I mean, point salad.
Hence the name, Bunny Kingdom. You're literally trying to multiply your control over the land. The bigger the territories that you make, the more points that you gain. And you do that by denoting it with a little tiny bunny meeple. In addition to that, you're also trying to amass resources, and those resources essentially act as multipliers. So in addition to having the drafting, you also have the positioning of the board, knowing when to take control of something, when not to take control of something. And in that draft, you also have multiple decision points. Do I go for land? Do I go for resources? Do I go for special cards that connect 2 of my regions and make it into a single one? Or do I go for endgame scoring? All of this is inside of that main deck, and that main deck is huge. And every time that you sit down with Bunny Kingdom, you're always going to get a slightly different experience, and it can surprise you. I've had multiple plays of this where a first-time player completely blows me out of the water, and I played this a bunch of times. Amazing game.
The drafting, the variability, and strategy, this is probably, this is going to be one of my go-to, if not my go-to drafting game, right head-to-head with Blood Rage, which for me is mind-blowing.
It's that good.
Interestingly enough, one that I don't think is in my top 10, probably top 20 comfortably, but I don't think it's in my top 10, and I'd question why, but I still don't think it's there.
Chinatown.
It's just hard because it competes, but this is such a beautiful game.
Calling it now. In his top 10, Chinatown is somewhere in there. Saying it. Calling it.
It's not on the list right now.
Oh, come on, man.
It's not on the list right now.
How can you do that? Five Tribes. My number 8. So Five Tribes, as you can tell, I am very partial to abstract games.
Mancala, the board game.
Yes.
Beautiful abstract little puzzle you're picking up and dropping gems from place to place.
Not gems, you're actually moving meeples around.
I was talking about Mancala.
But this is actually very similar. This is the board game version of Mancala. And I actually have, all of the expansions are already in this box. I've collected everything for it.
Splitting at the seams?
Yes, exactly.
Just going to keep a hand on this.
So in Five Tribes, you have control of these small meeples, and you move the meeples around the board, trying to, as you go, grab groups of those meeples in order to drop them in different zones to score more and more points. Yep. Depending on the different variants that you're including in the game, you have different ways of scoring, you have different ways that the city is built out, but ultimately, this is a very thinky, abstract, and also very hyper-competitive. The board is constantly shifting, the puzzle is always different. Every time somebody grabs a bunch of the meeples, those were the meeples that you were going to grab. Yep. And there's also a lot of different victory point scoring paths that you can take, right? So I can be focusing on one particular element of the game. You can be focusing on another. So it's Mancala, board gamified, and also having a little bit of Euro elements in terms of how you're scoring victory points through, like that variability or the paths that you can take.
And one of the nicest things about this for me, and I haven't played with all the expansions, but one of the coolest elements is going to be the fact that the points are not so abstracted that you can't keep track of what people are doing on the table, which for something like Bunny Kingdom, I want them abstracted. I want to be able to focus on my own strategy, the drafting, the area control. It's too much to track hundreds of numbers. In this, it's usually a tight enough race that I sort of want to know where to pick up meeples, how to change the board, when, and how to cut you off from your own victory points. That becomes really rewarding. It can be a little mean from time to time.
It can be 100% mean.
Recommended I've only played 3 and 4, and I liked 4 quite a lot.
Yeah, I think I would recommend this at 4, probably like my best player count, but 3 is a really good one too. Actually, the first time I ever played this game was with William. He showed me this game, and I fell in love with it immediately, and we had played at 3 players then. So
3 and 4 is solid. Bunny Kingdom, one that I probably would say 4 as well. That's my main play experience.
I played it at 3, and it works. It always works. It just always works. Because it's exponential in a lot of ways.
I'm about to call BS on this game.
Oh, BS? Are you crazy? Food Chain Magnate,
Not
my number
because
6.
it's great. I'm sure it is. I've owned a copy of this game
and you've never played it.
2+ years, and trust me, I'm working on getting the catch-up expansion. I have yet to play this game, Jan, and I'm going to challenge you on your own personal top 10 list. When's the last time, if ever, you've played Food Chain Magnate?
It's been quite a few years. but
anyone that likes this game is going, yeah, that sounds about right.
But that, I think, tells the story of what this game means to me, because it has survived my collection, and I, my good sir, am a purger. I am constantly shifting games, always moving out.
You got rid of me last week.
Things that don't get played do not stay in my library, and yet Food Chain Magnate has able to survive for, I think, about 3 to 4 years at this point.
Part of it is going to be the box size, let's be honest.
So the thing about Food Chain Magnate, and again, it's been 3 to 4 years since I played this, but this is going to be a logistics and economic game.
Well,
you're trying to build a restaurant empire.
2 years, subtract the pandemic. It doesn't count.
So, as I said, you're trying to build a food chain empire. And the way that you do that is you have a board of squares that you're able to place down control in. And you're able to slowly expand and take control of new city blocks. Yeah. Always trying to get more offers. But the really cool element about it is that, let's say that you, Jesse, you're focusing on lemonade and pizza. Came up with this wacky idea.
Best combination ever. You dip the crust in it once you're done.
Woo! People in the neighborhood are going crazy, but I'm selling hamburgers and Coca-Cola. depending on how we do advertisements, we can send out radio.
Drones,
we can do radio.
Giant billboard
We
in the
can send
sky.
out planes.
And you're influencing streets and houses to draw them to you
Yes.
instead of your opponent.
So-
it really allows, media to manipulate people.
It is a lot, in a lot of ways, what's it called? It is a comment piece on how marketing and all that works in people. But that marketing influences the people. And so I might say hamburgers, Jesse might say pizza, but if someone else says Coca-Cola, they're going to go to the nearest person that has Coca-Cola, and they're going to get all that they want. And in addition to that, you're also building up a hiring structure. You're getting your intern employees.
Parts of this game.
You're building a literal pyramid scheme as you go, and each one of those cards and people that you're bringing in evolves your game.
A different conversation.
It's built in a pyramid, is what I mean.
Listen, if you want to learn about pyramid schemes, swing over to Dave Ramsey. He'll tell you all about them. What you're talking about is going to be a hiring structure or a pyramid in physical form, where every person that you have, from manager to district manager to sales clerk to pastry chef, they're all going to link down from one to another. Now, this game is unforgiving.
I was about to say that.
In its brutality. I would not recommend this game to people who are watching going, oh, that sounds nice. What's Food Chain Magnete?
This is one of the meanest games I have in my library, and it is the type of game where if you make a mistake, turn 1 or 2, you're probably out against a seasoned
There's no
player.
catch-up mechanic.
Until you buy the catch-up expansion, and then
supposedly... I don't have that one yet.
It's also it's the cost of the original game.
I know.
Which I haven't gotten.
Splotters earned their right to charge that.
Yeah. Oh, also, yes, Splotter Games. If you haven't heard of them, they're one
so
of the
confident
premier...
they don't put anything on the back of their box.
Yeah, that's it. They're all mechanics. So if you're a very mechanical player and you love Euros and you love crunchy stuff, look at Splotter Games overall. But Food Chain Magnete is probably one of my favorites.
Jan.
From Splotter, yes.
The first game that you and I drastically disagree on.
Yep, Project Elite,
Twinsies.
my number 5. So Project Elite is going to be a real-time game. What does that mean as well? There's no turns. Everything is happening simultaneously, and this is going to be a cooperative variant of real-time games. What you're doing here is that you're trying to basically be Starship Troopers. You're going to get multiple aliens coming at you at all times, just running down, trying to destroy and overcome your base, but you're doing your best to kind of survive. You're shooting at them as you go. You're throwing dice to try and get the right shot aligned, and you're also trying to move around with those same dice. But remember, real time, so you're rolling these dice and you're getting the results, and you're rolling again and you're getting the results, and rolling again and rolling again, and it is a frantic experience. It literally feels like you are at war with these aliens, which is why I absolutely love this game. But with that said, if you're not good with dice, this might not be the game for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. My first experience with this game was tripping and then not moving very much, and then getting hit by an alien, and then tripping again, and
So
then
thematic.
my gun jamming, and then getting frustrated as I watch my other friends run across the battlefield
And do
slaying
amazing.
aliens
we're
every
just
step
like-
of the way. This is a really cool real-time game. I think you're right in everything you're saying about it. It does have that pandemic alien feeling where they're escalating down this pathway, overwhelming your defenses, and you have to make really tactical decisions between reloading, getting new gear and weapons, going for the objective, helping your buddy that just got knocked down, and you're working against that clock, and you only have maybe the hand speed for 5 rolls left, and you know if you don't take out this beast before time is over...
It's going to take you out.
He's going to punch you in the face and then walk through your open gate, winning or losing the game for you.
It's fantastic. So good. And recommended player counts at this, the higher the better. Like, the more frantic and the more crazy, the better it gets.
Oh, Jan, this feels a little...
Oh, this isn't the actual game here.
One of the lightest games in your collection.
Number 4, Millennium Blades. So this is a crazy one. It's one of those other games that if you ask me when was the last time I played it, it's going to be a few years, but we've had an entire video on this game.
Yeah.
This is one of...
Specifically 5 reasons not to play.
Yes, exactly. Because you should play it all the time. No, but what I love about Millennium Blades is that it touches... I've never been a nostalgia person, ever.
Okay.
But Millennium Blades touches on a certain aspect of my nostalgia while still coming up with a brilliant mechanical system underneath it. So this is going to be a deck builder, sort of. You're trying to build a specific combo.
It's a living card game in a box.
Mm-hmm. You're trying to build a specific combo in order to go into tournaments to fight and duel with your friends. Whoever is able to build the best combo wins the tournament. But that's only a small part of the game because you're kind of playing in the world of competitive deck building or dueling like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! And things like that.
Yeah.
So you go into one tournament and then you go to buy booster packs. Literally, the cards themselves, if you flip them the other side, they have little graphic of boosters, and you can buy different types of boosters. But the crazy thing is that there's an entire market in front of you of cards that your friends can sell.
It's like you're walking into a store and looking under the countertop and going, oh yeah, Forgotten Lands, Rising Sun, I'll take 3 Forbidden Deserts, and that's going to be perfect for my deck.
And you start doing all of this in conjunction with everybody on the board, but you're also creating a marketplace yourself. People are able to sell cards, they're able to take cards away from others, and they're able to cash in cards in order to get special types of like ultra rare cards and things like that. There's so many options, and like when I say options, the general market of this game is usually this tall. Like it's ridiculous. One of the main things that keeps me away from playing this one is just shuffling.
You spend 15 minutes shuffling. Honestly, for Christmas this year, Jan, I might look into purchasing a poker card shuffler for you.
I thought about it.
Because it would be the only way to justify playing this game. It's insane, but it's also amazing. The
it's really
amount
good.
of time and energy and skill and craftsmanship that has been put into this by level 99. I mean, this game deserves to be here.
Honestly,
it is mind-blowing, and I've only had one experience with it, and I understand why you love it.
It's just brilliant. Mechanically, it's
I'll
brilliant.
never play it again, but I understand why you love it.
Well, no. Here's the thing. If you're curious about this game, I would recommend probably trying out in Tabletop Simulator or something like that, where you don't have to worry about the shuffling.
There are good automated systems.
Yeah, like that in itself, just to experience what the game is trying to bring you, I promise you that if you try it out and you like it, this is infinite. Like you'll never get tired of trying this out. I could probably play this game every day for a year and still not go through all the content.
The most recent game you showed me.
Yes, Ginkopolus. Okay, it is face up.
Hey, so, Jim, I'm going to make you proud.
What?
You showed me this.
Yes.
I then taught this.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Oh, fascinating. So Ginkopolus is going to be a really interesting one. It includes a lot of your favorite mechanics. It's going to have drafting and tile laying in there, and also victory points. What you're trying to do in this game is that you're trying to build the most ideal city possible through sustainable methods. And you do that by taking by having a hand of cards, playing said cards down, and then slotting down different types of tiles that you have on your player board. Throughout the game, you're accumulating points, you're accumulating tiles that you can place down, and you're accumulating, I'm forgetting the other resources, but you're accumulating a bunch of things.
The main core mechanic system is going to be that drafting, where you're going to be grabbing a card and placing it down, and it's going to start generating power for you. I think it's going to generate like resource tokens and energy of some kind, which then allow you to build at higher and higher levels on this main city board. It's got a bit of area control.
Yes, because you're trying to expand and create territories.
It's got a really interesting action selection and drafting hybrid because you're actually taking the actions as you're doing the draft. So cards that are going around in a circle, you only get to play one of them, and then the next hand comes into your own.
So you don't get a lot of time to think, and you have to make sure that you're doing the best possible decision. And what I think the other element of this one that makes me love it especially is the way that the tile laying is done. The layering mechanic here is absolutely phenomenal. I could have control of a district, and I'm going to make all the points in the world.
Yep.
But Jesse has the exact card that he needs and also the exact numbered tile to overlay on top of my territory, to completely breaking out any potential points that I could have made, or at least contesting me to the point where now he's an actual threat.
Yep.
And that kind of tension of nothing is safe. I always have to watch out for my opponents are doing. I have to have, the resources is what I was thinking that you're accumulating throughout the game. I have to have the amount of resources necessary in order to overbuild in case Jesse overbuilds on top of my building.
Yep.
It's everything. The moment I had heard about this way back in the day, this is the latest printing of this game. And I never understood what made Ginkopolus so special. Like, I read the mechanics, but until when I played it, my mind was blown. This is a game that every gamer, honestly, I think, every gamer should try at some point. Because it's so unique.
I'll give you that.
I've never played something like this.
It's really lovely. It's really lovely.
Oh my god, I love this game to bits. Eat it up. It's amazing. Okay, what's next?
I
feel it's a lie.
It's actually not. It's really heavy.
Brass Birmingham, and yes, it is.
It's a number
3.
Are you ashamed of this? Are you proud of this? Is it one way or another? Do you think it should be higher?
It was really tricky.
Talk to me about your emotions.
It was really tricky.
Tell me them, Jan.
It's just really tricky because I've had Brass Birmingham and my other top one together forever. Yeah. But I kind of wanted to change that up a little bit, and I started debating what type of mechanics that I usually get drawn into. And I feel that people will get a sense of what my favorite mechanics are based on this list. Actually, you know what?
Sorry, I was cheating. I was looking.
I don't have a single deck builder on this list, like a genuine deck builder.
That's fascinating.
Isn't it? Like, it is one of my favorite mechanics.
Abstract is your favorite.
Sure. Also, Euro abstract tile laying.
Euros still, for me, contain a bit of those abstract puzzles that you like so much. Like this, the spatial, and the way you're building out the regions. Either way, let's dive into this.
So, yes, speaking of Brass Birmingham, this is going to be another Roxley game, by the way. And so, in Brass Birmingham...
Roxley!
Yeah, give us a call, baby. You know, we'll help you out. So, in Brass Birmingham, you are building
we already own all your games. We don't need you, Roxley.
We don't own the next one that they're making.
That's true. That's true.
So you're building networks and you're trying to build an economical empire. And the way that you do that is by trying to generate resources in different areas and then creating chains of manufacturing so that you can transport those goods across the board. However, you're not the only industry here. You're competing against other players that are trying to take away those resources in the most inopportune times to try and completely topple whatever type of economy that you're trying to create. This is also another game that deals not necessarily with drafting, but deals with action selection and card play as well.
It is. You make it sound like you're fighting against each other, where the interesting balance of this game for a Euro and economic game is you're not necessarily fighting. You're building industry together, and while, yes, sometimes you're stealing resources from a player that desperately needs them, other times you sort of constructed the road or the railroad or the iron mine so that people would use them. Yep. You've got this interchange of a developing board that is being constructed as you play, and that could hurt you or it could really benefit you, and that's one of the best balances of this game.
I honestly think this is one of those almost perfect Euros. Like if you were to tell me like critique Brass Birmingham, I would be a little bit remiss.
Ducks. Easy.
It would be difficult for me to try and pinpoint exactly what I would change about it because I enjoyed that much. Out of all the Euros I've ever tried, Brass Birmingham will always be probably at the very tippy top. And this latest edition that Roxley Games made, absolutely ridiculous.
All right, there's another one.
Oh yeah, bring that papa over here. Glenmore 2, published by Funtails.
Surprised to see this on your shelf.
What?
Not because I don't think it deserves to be here. It's because I've never played it and you've never taught it to me.
Oh my god, man. We need to change that. So Glenmore 2 is going to be a tile laying game, and it's probably the best tile laying game I have ever played. It's going to involve two really interesting mechanics, and actually one that we already talked about. So the main conceit around Glenmore 2 is that you have a Merv, the Rondell action selection system.
Okay.
So in this game, all the tiles are laid out in a kind of like in a circular fashion. And you're able to take your meeple and move it as far ahead as you want in order to grab the tiles that you're looking for. Okay. But depending on how far you go, you're not going to get a turn again until somebody skips you. And until you're the last in line, you don't get to go again.
Tell me about that.
Right? So that's one of the major elements that Glenmore brings. And so Glenmore 2, obviously there was a Glenmore 1 that reached a lot of praise and it was wonderful, but the Glenmore 2 started to build on a lot of additional mechanics and elements that really took it to another level, specifically the Chronicles conceit around Glenmore 2, where you're able to add like these little modules that just spice up the core game. But the core game in itself is fantastic. And so in conjunction with that action, with that turn order and tile selection system, you also have building out your own board. So the way that you're building out your board is that every time that you lay down a tile, it's going to generate some resources that are on it. And when you lay down tiles next to that, you're able to kind of trigger certain change reactions. But you also have a little meeple that's on like your city or your settlement that you're trying to build. And if that meeple isn't where you need it to, you cannot build because they're essentially kind of like towing the land and doing all the things that you need to prepare. So it is a logistical puzzle in where that meeple is, what tiles I need to lay, where I'm grabbing stuff from, where you're at. There's also elements where, because a tile laying game in this sort is sometimes it's a little bit what do you call that? Multiplayer solo.
Oh, sorry.
It can be a little bit of multiplayer solo. There are variants in there where you can start sending little boats that travel through the rivers of all the towns that are connected, and you're kind of keeping track of like, oh my god, they have so many rivers, they have this, they have that. Everything about this game is perfection. I love Glenmore. I would play this at a heartbeat at any time. Anybody says, hey, you want to play? Yes, I want to play Glenmore. I mean, throw everything away, just play Glenmore.
Not unless you have 2.5 hours to spare.
It's not. It doesn't necessarily go. It depends. It can go long depending on the amount.
I was looking at the side of the box here and realizing that one of the reasons we probably haven't tabled it is because you not only have to teach me, we also need a bigger gaming group to play it with.
Actually, this plays wonderful at any player count.
Does it play good at 2?
Yes.
Well, then I have no idea why
Again, this is kind of multiplayer solo depending, and the drafting of those tiles and the way that you're picking from the marketplace is just brilliant. Seriously. Freaking amazing. I love it.
Sounds like we need to get a gameplay of this on the channel.
They just got an expansion.
Like yesterday. I think you just
received
got it in,
yes.
didn't you?
Yes, I did. So, the Highland Games, I think it's called.
Number one.
I don't think this is going to come as a surprise as any people's.
Hold on.
Yes?
What was your thought when approaching number 1? Has this been your number 1 period?
Yes.
Just flat out?
I have never questioned this ever in my life. Like, the moment I played this game and I started comparing it to every other game I played, I just knew. I knew that it captured that very bovine part of my heart that can never take it away. Like, whenever I see this game, I literally go, moo, because it's Great Western Trail, baby. Of course it friggin' is. So, Great Western Trail is going to be one of the greatest Euros that I've ever played by Alexander Pfister.
I'm very glad you introduced me to this game. It is lovely.
Oh my god, it's brilliant. So, what you're doing in Great Western Trail and makes it particularly special is that you have a trail, literally, that you're walking through. You have these small meeples, and you're trying to go and move upwards. The objective of the game is to try and score points every time that you reach the end of the trail, and you do that by collecting cows.
Cattle, boys! Yeah!
But the real game happens on that trail. Because every time that you step on one of those locations, those are actions that you're taking. But not just any type of actions. They are actions created by the players around you.
That's one of the coolest things about this game. The board 100%. That you're playing, this Euro game where you're progressing round and round this rondelle system, because it really is like a rondelle action track.
100%.
You're developing it as you play.
100%. And that is one of the most interesting things about this game. In addition, that you also have your own personal tableau that you can start transforming and specializing in different areas. And like any great Euro, this is going to have so many different paths to victory. I haven't explored even a quarter of what those paths to victories are. And it is one of these Euros that just keeps on giving. I honestly, a lot of people criticize even the artwork of this originally. Like the cover, this cover is very bland, very boring. They just came out with a second edition. Let's not talk about the second edition, but they came out with a second edition with updated artwork. But I love, like that board in itself is beautiful enough for me, and I enjoyed all of the different elements here. And in traditional Pfister fashion, you're taking small pieces from your tableau and then adding them onto the board. The more that you progress through the game and the more that you evolve and you become better at it, you're able to unlock more options and more things for you to do the more that the game goes on. Different types of buildings, stronger player powers, you're able to move farther ahead. This to me is probably the perfect Euro.
Hey, you right there, going to Amazon. No.
Yes, go right now. Just purchase it.
Pause for a second.
Go ahead.
Because there's a reprint coming.
Yes, there's a reprint coming that has like the components are beautiful. I'm not sure if they're going to reprint the expansion. I'm assuming they're going to reprint everything.
I'm sure. I hope it comes with more content, honestly.
I don't know. I don't think it needs it.
I would like to see a reprint with more expansions. It doesn't need it. It doesn't need anything, but it's so incredible.
Well, one of the main conceits around the newer edition is that the meeples have cowboy hats. Cute. Like actual plastic cowboy hats.
I don't necessarily think you need the new edition. Now, granted, I'm going to get the new edition.
Yeah.
However,
I thought about it.
This will be on sale when the new edition arrives. So you should purchase this. You should play it. Call around your friend group. Find someone to play it with that already owns it. And then hold your horses or your cows.
Hold your cows, yes. And the cover might look incredibly boring, but trust me, what's inside is very special.
Yeah, I actually put off playing this for like a good part of a year.
Like, who wants to play with this guy?
I saw the cover and I was like, Nah, I'm good.
It's super
good.
bland. They don't even look human.
No, I've seen that movie.
Yeah, but this, oh my god, this is a trip. This is a journey you should take.
So, off to the side, Jan Begus's top 10 games of all time.
Yes.
And Goose's top 10 games of all time. If someone right now was going to buy it like you do, I mean, drop it like it's hot, wallet on the table, eBay already opened.
I'm expecting everybody just bought everything here because it's guaranteed to make you
out of your
fun.
top 10, let's say someone doesn't own one of them.
Santorini.
That's your no-brain, you're purchasing it?
It would be either Bunny Kingdom or Santorini.
Yeah.
100%. Like, these are games that do not fail.
They're great starter games. They never fail, and they play really solid and writable.
Yep.
I would say the question would be player count. 2-player Santorini.
Yes.
If you're going higher than that, Bunny Kingdom.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, if you're playing usually with 3 to 4 players, 100% Bunny Kingdom is going to be for you. And it's one of these games that I have introduced to every single person, and not one person has not enjoyed Bunny Kingdom. So that's a surefire bet. Oh! And honorable mention, because it's so sad that it wasn't there.
Is this your game 0 above everything?
Honorable mention.
Okay.
Dale of Merchants. I have the entire collector's edition. It is probably one of my favorite deck builders, and it's one of the most accessible ones that I've ever encountered. It has infinite replayability. It is so fun and yet so simple to get into. I love this thing. This is one of those games that, just like Glenmore, you want to play Dale of Merchants? Let's do it.
Is it number 11? What's going on here?
Can I just keep saying honorable mention? Because it should have been in the top 10 somewhere. I just don't know where it would have... It's amazing, honestly. If you haven't tried Dale of Merchants, one of the nice things about this particular system is that it comes in very small boxes. You can buy the first box, which is Dale of Merchants 1, Dale of Merchants 2, Dale of Merchants 3, and I can guarantee you any of those boxes would be enough for anybody that's just getting into the system, and you might not even need anything else. It is that good. And if you don't know what it is, you're trying to build little stalls, so you're deck building and then deck deconstructing immediately. So the cards that go in your deck go into your stalls, and the idea is that you're trying to build an ascending order of cards from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 in terms of numerals and numbers.
It's really lovely.
It's amazing.
Is why this is my copy.
I have a copy too, everything.
Whatever the case, hopefully you've enjoyed this top 10 of all time. Let us know when you've ordered those 2 games or those 10 games.
Yes,
and let
10.
us know your top 3 in the comment section down below. I'd love to see if there was some cohesion in our audience. Whatever the case, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing. Put a bunch of meeples in your mouth and scream, "I'm Wonder Woman."
Wow. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks so much.